Hi, and welcome to Business Legal Lifecycle TV. My name's Jeremy Streten. I'm one of the founders of the Business Legal Lifecycle. And today is Wednesday, where we do our longer form show. Normally we do an interview or some training or some education about different phases of the Business Legal Lifecycle. But it's January 2019 when I'm recording this, and I wanted to do something a little bit different today. And the reason for that is time blocking. And coming into the new year, I do a lot of masterminds, I do a lot of education, and constantly I get people who talk about the fact that they never have enough time. And I thought, beginning of 2019, I'm someone who I believe I structure my day very, very well, very rigidly, so that I get stuff done. I use the Kanban system, which I'm not going to talk about today, but if you're interested about that, if you Google personal Kanban, you can see that. It's basically a post-it note system that allows you to set your tasks and put all that together. But I put together time blocking as something that's really, really important. So I wanted to really just address that today and do a short episode of really educating you on what I do. So if you're listening to the podcast, there is going to be some visual elements to this. I will talk about those. There are the show notes that will be available or are available at businesslegallifecycle.com.au/169 for our 169th show on time blocking. And I really encourage you to grab the workbook, and there's an example calendar that I've put in there that I use as my draft. Full credit to my business coach and mentor, David Dugan, who actually put this stuff together and taught me a lot of this stuff, and I've kind of adapted it to what we're going to go through today. So as well as an introduction, it's got to remember that whether or not you're the CEO of Apple or a store clerk at a supermarket, you all have the same amount of time every single day and every single week. There are 168 hours in a week. The average person sleeps 8 hours a night, and that's about 56 hours in a week. And so you're left with 112 hours during the day of when you can actually get stuff done. Now, there'll be a period of time that you might spend with your family. Might be 4 hours a day. So that's, 7 times 4 is 28. So take that off 112 hours. And that's the time that is up to you. What you use it for and how you use it will, in the end, determine how successful you are and what you actually get done. And this is where time blocking comes in. So time blocking is the process whereby you put a calendar together of your time, of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. The key to this process, and we'll go through an example in a minute, is to put down time for every single block that you have during your day. Now, this is really important because when you've got spare time and you leave blank spaces, that's when stuff doesn't get done, or you run off and do what you've always done. So you need to make sure that you put together your time and that you have something put down for every single day. Now, this is a tool that you're going to use. Hopefully, put this together and use it. That's in the show notes and the workbook for the reference. So I want you to sit down. I want you to first think about, what do you do every day? What are the tasks that you do? If you're not sure, then grab out a piece of paper or do an Excel spreadsheet and write down every single task and how long you spend on it every day. Usually, and this is something that was something that was recommended to me for a while ago, but it's actually something that I read from The Effective Executive from Peter Drucker, that classic book from the 1960s. He recommends this process as well. So for 2 to 4 weeks, keep a record of everything that you do when you do it. So that's the first thing to do. The second thing, and if you jump onto our workbook, you'll see that here, is to think about what your overall projects are and your goals for any year. So what are the things that you're doing? What do you want to achieve? If you're someone who does planning sessions like I do, you'll have your big rocks. What are your big rocks for the year? What are the big things that you want to get done? And even if you don't do that process, then think about it and write those down and use the workbook for that. So once you've got both of those, and this is a podcast and a YouTube video that you should revisit, you need to align your tasks to your goals. So have a look at what you've done. What are the high value activities that you're doing every day that help you actually achieve your goal? Now, this is really important because during a day, we'll get distracted. Notifications will pop up, and I'll talk about that in a second. Things will distract us. And you need to make sure that you set down what the most important things are for you to get done. And these are your high value activities. And you should have somewhere between 1 and 3 a day that you're going to get done to help you achieve your goals. Any more than that, and you're kidding yourself, you're not going to get them done. I know. I've seen this time and time again with multiple people. Make sure that you're practical about what you're going to do. So then the next thing I want you to think about is what's your golden time? So golden time, there's many different words and terms for this. But this is the time of the day when you're most alert. Usually it's somewhere between 6 to 8 hours after you wake up. There's many different studies, but think about when the time is during the day that you're most alert. Is it after lunch? Is it just before lunch? Is it just after breakfast? Is it 3 or 4 hours after breakfast? Have a think about that. This is the time that you should be doing the high value activities that will help you reach your goal. Nothing else. You shouldn't be doing work that will take up your time and distract you. You need to think about what are those high value activities that you need to get done at any one day and lock that in as your golden time. There's also going to be a time when every day you might hit a low point. The circadian rhythm knows that for each person, and everyone's going to be different. So I'm not going to go through all the different science on that. You can do your own research on that, but work out for yourself when the time of the day is that you're just not going to be proactive. You're just not going to get things done. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just acknowledge that it happens and acknowledge the fact that you might need to put your time in to something else. So that might be reading a book. It might be doing a mundane task like organizing your office or organizing what you do and where you do it, or doing something that doesn't require a lot of brain power. Acknowledge that and move on. The last thing I'm going to say, and I mentioned it before, are distractions. Email, social media, notifications, you need to turn these off. You need to start pulling these things onto you rather than allowing them to be pushed onto you. They're called push notifications for a reason. I have a mobile phone. It's an iPhone. I have an iPad, and I have all of my notifications turned off. The only way that I will see that someone wants me straight away is if I'm looking at my phone and it rings, or if I'm in my office and someone comes into my office, or they ring through my office phone. This is really important because there's different studies, and you can take what you want from the studies. You don't need me to tell you what they are or what actually happens for you. You need to work it out for yourself. But there's something between, if you're in deep work, if you're in deep concentration, if you get distracted, it takes somewhere between 25 minutes to 2 hours to get back to the same point that you were. And if you're in a professional service or in any industry really, and you're doing deep work, the stuff that really is going to move the needle and help you to be successful, then I don't know about you, but taking 25 minutes to 2 hours to get myself back on track, that's a big deal. So I don't have any notifications on my computers, my laptop, I just turn them all off. And that means that I go in and I pull the work onto me. So I might go onto my phone and see that there's 17 text messages. That's fine, because I've allotted time during my day to check those things. Same with emails. I allot times. Those little notifications that pop up in the bottom of your screen, they distract you for a reason. They distract you because they want you to use their products and make them sticky is the term if you haven't heard it before. And that's perfectly fine. That's their business model. But you need to be smarter than that, and you need to make sure that you're not letting those things come up. I just noticed the other day I downloaded a new app onto my phone and it started sending me notifications. So I went in and turned them off. You need to be really intentional with these things. Don't be afraid to do it. With all this stuff, I'm more than happy to help you out. More than happy to jump on a call. You send me an email, lifecycle@jeremystreten.com, or jump onto our website. There's an inquiry box on there that you can run through what you actually need. So time blocking is really, really important. You need to think about those things. Keep a record of what you do. Think about what your overall projects and goals are, and then align your tasks to your goal. Make sure that you're doing the tasks that will move the needle. Now, I said in the intro that I was going to give a practical example, and I'm going to, in the show notes, so again, if you go to businesslegallifecycle.com.au/169, I'm sharing the show notes and also this default diary blank. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It's something that I use. You can use whatever you like. I know people who use Google Calendars. I know people who use all different things. I use this spreadsheet to map out my day. And I wanted to run through how you actually use this document and what it can look like at the end to time block your time. Now, you'll see the way that this is set up is from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. and there's already some time in there. But the key to this is, and I said it at the beginning, not leaving any blank times. So I'm using the latest Microsoft Office 365 subscription that I have on this computer. So there may be some functionality that doesn't look quite right for you, if you're using an Apple product or if you're using a newer version or an older version of Excel, the principles are still the same. So I really encourage you, if you are listening to the podcast, check out the video. If you go to YouTube and you type in Business Leader Lifecycle Time Blocking, you'll get a copy of this video. I've posted this up onto YouTube, and check this out. Get a look at the show notes. If you know how to use Excel, if you know what I'm talking about, then all good. But this is something that I've seen time and time again people struggle with, and I really want to make sure that people are getting the value, and the viewers and listeners of our show are getting the value. So, name up here, default diary. You can change it to whatever you want. Put your company name in. I would normally change this to Jeremy Streten, and we'll make it Business Legal Lifecycle. And then the key, as I said before, is to think about what are the major things that you want to do. So for me, I will put in, say, from 8 to 8:30, email checking. So I actually have this calendar. I'm not going to rewrite my whole one because it's rather complicated. However, I'm going to show you today. So say if you want to, these are set up into 15-minute blocks, and each line is a 15-minute block. If you want to time block, say, half an hour for checking emails, the way that you do that is that you type into one of the things, check emails. Right? Then you highlight both boxes, and then see this little box, merge and center. You merge and center it. And then what I always do is I pick a similar color for a similar task. So the default one's often that yellow. Let's go check emails. Now you can choose whatever color works for you, but that lets you check and basically make that area check emails. So I might, then, if it's a similar thing over a half an hour block, you can highlight that whole thing and go copy and paste. Copy and paste. So I'm using the Control-C and the Control-V function. So Control-C lets you copy, and then Control-V lets you paste. So you'll see that I'll have a half an hour in the morning when I check my emails. I will also do it just before lunch, just to make sure nothing else has come in. And then I'll usually put that in at 4 o'clock on a day. Again, I'm just using Control-V. You can use the functionality up here, the copy and paste buttons if you prefer that. I just like the Control-C and Control-V because I think it saves a lot of time. So that's the first thing that you put in. The second one that I'll put in is, what are my big rocks? What are the things that I need to do with my team? So in the law firm, we'll have a Monday morning meeting. So we'll have an all hands meeting. And then I will, that takes an hour. So again, merge and center, and I'll color that. Let's go orange. And then every other day at 9 o'clock, we have a daily stand-up. And that's an all hands daily startup where we will meet. So if you call my law firm or my businesses at that time in the morning, you'll have to leave a message because we will have a quick 10 to 15 minutes daily stand-up. Then we don't do on the Monday because we do that as part of the all hands meeting. So they're the team meetings. I will then also have catch-ups with my team. And usually I do those on Monday and Tuesday. So I will block off a time to say catch up with team members. And that will usually be an hour. And I'll do another show about catch-ups. And I will put that in blue, say, and then put that there and there. And so those are catch-ups with my team. In fact, we should probably make that also on Fridays as well. Catch-ups with my team where I go out and I have chats to them on a fortnightly basis just to see what they're up to. The next thing to think about is, what do I need to do? So I think about my high value activities, and I have 3 big rocks that my firm does every week, or every 4-month sprint. And for anyone who's an Abundance Global person, you'll know about that. I'll get the head of Abundance Global, David Dugan, on to teach us that way. So normally what I'll do is I'll have working on big rocks, because this is a time that I spend with my office manager working on big rocks. Make that bright red. And then I'll also usually do that on a Thursday. Now, if you copy and paste, and you'll see that there's that space there, you can actually go merge and center, and you can make that the whole block if you hit that twice. To unmerge and center, you basically click that off, and what you'll notice is that each one is a separate box. If you want to clean it up, then the easiest way to do that is to start from scratch, is to go back to say a blank cell and go Format Painter, and do that over the cells, and that will bring them back. But let's merge and center that. There's lots of different tips. If you know how to use Excel, I just use it myself. And that's something that you might want to use as well. So then, say a Wednesday, I'll usually do business, legal, lifecycle, TV, or just TV/podcast recording. So I'll put that in as a big rock there, and that will be, we usually record over multiple times. You should have different colors. You see too. I've given that one way too similar to the lunch color, so that you can see what you actually do and when you're going to do it. So then the other thing that I'll have, and this is really, really, really important in my view, and something that I learned early on in business that becomes really, really important, and that's meetings with clients. Have set times when you're going to meet with clients. Why is that important? If you don't have set times for when you meet with your clients, then you will have meetings all throughout your day. You'll have meetings all throughout your day, and you will struggle to actually get anything done. So I will usually have 2 days in the afternoon and then 2 days in the morning, or so 1 day in the morning where I meet with clients. I will then spend, I write a lot of content for Business Legal Lifecycle. I will also spend my Business Legal Lifecycle big projects, big rocks, I should say, on a Wednesday afternoon. And you'll see that big rocks was bright red, so I'll make that bright red as well. What you can see from this is that, especially if you're in a service-based business, by putting all these things in that I need to get done, I'm filling up my week really well. And I actually put this into my Outlook calendar. We use Outlook for our time. And you'll see that it leaves me with a certain amount of time where I can actually do work on files. Now, as a business owner and as a senior lawyer, I don't do a lot of actual file work. I do a lot of negotiating. I do a lot of emails with clients. But you'll see here that basically from 8 o'clock when I get into the office to 5 o'clock, a lot of time is pre-booked. And the rest of the time, I will say for the law firm, working on files. And what this lets me do is it lets me be really clear and intentional with the time that I'm working on files. So I'll make that maroon. And sure, things come up. This is something to remember. It's something I think is really important. There will be times when I won't be able to meet with clients on a Thursday afternoon because I will have something else on, right? That happens. But the idea is having the intention to do it. And the intention of doing it lets me know that, and lets my team know that they shouldn't be booking me in for meetings. They shouldn't be expecting me to do things on times outside those times. Now, as I say, things happen and you might not actually do that. So working on files, for me, that's working on files. It might be jobs. But this gives me the ability to, and you'll see there that I tried to copy and paste a cell with that's over 2 cells into this one, and it didn't let me do it. You'll see that lets me then, my week is then defined as to what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, and then my big rocks. And when I'm doing my Kanban in the morning or in the evening, that will be there. So you'll see here, to achieve this, you could also be review today's Kanban list or the Kanban board, and write out tomorrow's Kanban board. I've actually changed that on my version, and then that can be there on each day. As I say, it will happen that you will not get all this done. So you should save this as a separate file. So I'll call this 2019-01-23 because that's the date of the recording. Jeremy default diary, and you will change it. And as I said before, the easiest way to change it is to click merge and center, or to even go back to a blank cell and go here and put your time in. A lot of people that I know, sorry, if you just noticed what I did then, I undid the last few steps by pressing Control Z. These are really important buttons, Control C, Control V, and Control Z. I use them all the time to make me more efficient. Another one that I see a lot of people do, and that is plan for the week on a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday morning. I'll actually, for me, and we should do it for me, I'll actually do that early on a Sunday morning before the kids get up. I will usually spend, a couple of hours on doing that. And that's something that I'll usually address my Kanban board, which again I'll do another show later on Kanban, but I'll address my Kanban board and I will put that in there. Make sure you save it. If you've got any of these kind of messages, just hit OK or hit continue. You should print this out and put it on your wall. Put it on the side and share it with your team. Show them what you're actually doing. Show them where you're spending your time so that they know where that's going to be. You could have time here. You could have this time as meeting with team on file issues or on client issues. Those things will either come up ad hoc during the day or they'll come up in your catch-ups with the team. But these things are really, really important. So look, that's the show that I wanted to do today. If you've got any questions, as I said before, email me at lifecycle@jeremystreten.com. This stuff is really important. Time blocking, it makes you more efficient. It really does. Try it out, test it out. It's not going to work automatically the next day. It might take a couple of weeks. But if you spend the time and do the time, then you will actually get it. Now, as far as reviewing it goes, I said at the beginning, if you're not sure what time you spend on things, you should do a 2 to 4 week exercise of recording your time. And then I would say still do up this spreadsheet, do it up as a time blocking and see how it goes and then adjust it. Adjust it at least the first time after the first month. And then I review it quarterly. I actually have a calendar. You can't see it, but it's on my wall behind here that has reviewing this and my net worth audit, which I'll go through as another exercise that I'll do for you guys. But these are really important things. Review them quarterly or review them full monthly and make sure that you keep your time up to date and keep this because this is a great system. It's something that's worked for me for many years. But if you don't use it, then you won't use it if you don't use it, I was going to say. But if you don't use it, you won't see the benefit of it. So look, any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to help out. And we'll be back on Monday with Fast Fix Monday. Have a great week.